So I'm like genuinely convinced that crapgamer has gone absolutely insane since God of War 2018 got announced for PC, so let me show you my evidence. So for starters, Crap has been putting his face in some of the thumbnails of his videos, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking creepy. Then there's the fact that he hasn't mentioned the God of War PC port at all as I'm recording this video, despite making a new video every 5 to 6 hours, which by the way gets really fucking annoying when you're trying to keep track of what shitty video crapgamer has just made. And he also changed his intro song from the uncircumcised to some hard rock song now that sounds suspiciously like Hot Blooded by Foreigner. And for some reason, fucking Dealer Gaming of all people has been living rent-free in his head lately. He's made 2 videos about him off the same tweet in the last 2 fucking days, as if Dealer Gaming has had anything come out of his mouth that isn't just shilling for Microsoft. And yeah, I know what you're probably saying. Josh, what the fuck? You made 2 crapgamer videos within 1 week. Well, I need money now that I'm monetized, and the Halo campaign trailer came out yesterday, which my options were look at crapgamer, look at Twitter, or watch King Thrash and have to blur out 1,000 different N-words. And you guys voted on it too. So what are the PlayStation fanboys' biggest issues with Infinite? Is it that some of the cutscenes were CGI in the trailer rather than actually being an engine, which is kind of disingenuous? Nope, it's the graphics altogether and how Halo doesn't look like the game that's truly pushing the Xbox Series X to its limits. Because it's not. It's cross-gen, which by all means is a good thing. More people get to play the game, people don't feel an absolute need to get the newest Xbox, and those who do have the new Xbox can play the game at 120 FPS. We're so early into next gen, and so few people have been able to get their hands on the next gen consoles that altogether, Halo Infinite being cross-gen should be considered nothing but a good thing from both the developer and consumer standpoint. Not to mention there's a pretty significant graphics upgrade from the last few trailers we've gotten for the game to this, and honestly, I'll say it looks good. Not like completely cutting edge, but it doesn't hurt my fucking eyes like the 2020 trailer did. And that's just the graphics. The gameplay looks phenomenal. Like, I get a sort of Metal Gear Solid 5 vibe from some of the stuff they showed, which makes me really fucking excited to try the campaign. And I'll be honest, like 2 months ago, I had no interest in Infinite. And then I saw some of the multiplayer gameplay and I went, okay, I'll probably try the multiplayer with my friends for a bit since it's free. And then this campaign trailer has kind of sold me on buying the full game too. Not pre-ordering it, because apparently 343 has launched their games as buggy messes before, but I'll probably buy it within a week of it launching if it turns out that it's actually good. But as usual, a very specific group of people aren't satisfied with the graphics upgrade on Halo, and who to call out evil Microsoft and Phil Spencer than crapgamer himself. So enough talking and let's see what YouTube has shat out today. Bro, why the fuck did he leave his intro in a fucking loop? Jesus Christ.
Everybody kept saying, wait until the Halo Infinite campaign gets revealed, then we'll see what 12 teraflops of power can do for the Xbox Series X.
Who the fuck is saying that? Who the fuck is genuinely trying to say that the campaign is going to look significantly better than the multiplayer when they're running on the same damn engine? And also, who the fuck is still taking the 12 teraflops seriously anymore? I thought we all admitted that was bullshit back when these consoles came out and the performance of both consoles was virtually the same, with the PS5 sometimes having 1 to 5 lower frame rates and lower resolutions. And then not to mention all the games at the PS5 for some reason was running better than the Series X. But I don't know, crap, this kind of sounds like a straw man.
Then yesterday, we got a preview of what the campaign of Halo Infinite's actually going to be, and on the same day, Sony dropped new footage and new information about Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, and the funny part is, I wouldn't have even known that that shit had happened if Griffin hadn't talked about it while watching your video talking about Horizon. Like, what did they show off? From my understanding of what happened, Sony literally just had an article on the game put out, no new gameplay, no new mechanics showed off, literally just an article about the gameplay trailer that they had already showed literal fucking months ago. Honestly, I don't really care about Horizon. I mean, the gameplay definitely looks more interesting now, it looks decently fun. Still not pulling out the brick that is my PS4 to play it. And crapgamer was hyping up a fucking article about it like it killed Halo Infinite. But reading the article gave me a great way to transition into our salt break of this video, because Sony has left on comments to their articles to let the community say shit, and my god, it's fucking gold. People are still salty after God of War came to PC almost a week after it's been announced. So to draw out the length of this video and to provide you some extra salt, here's some shit.
Horizon isn't even a PS exclusive franchise anymore. Might as well be a Ubisoft game.
I mean, kinda fair. Both Horizon and games made by Ubisoft are pretty shit, but it isn't like Horizon was much better before it came to PC. At least now, I'm pretty sure you can skip the cutscenes and be done suffering sooner, and it runs at a somewhat playable frame rate. I can wait for the PC version.
Odds are you're an Xbox fan, lol.
God damn, the PlayStation fanboys have fallen down so hard that simply saying that you'd rather not buy the game at launch and buy the objectively better version of a PlayStation first-party game somehow makes you an Xbox fan now.
This is what PlayStation decision makers did to the community. They invited destructive people like this guy in to troll and create tension between the actual customers.
I just noticed that this guy's name is literally no PC ports. That should say everything that needs to be said about this guy. How the fuck did Sony invite quote-unquote destructive people to the PlayStation community? Horizon isn't a fucking online game. You don't need a PlayStation account to play Horizon on PC from what I remember. People were always fucking with the PlayStation fans. We just have another thing to fuck with them about.
Hard to get excited for a game we should have gotten in November, December, or January. But we aren't, simply because you won't release games in those months. Oh well. Hope the few thousand sales you got from the PC version of Horizon Zero Dawn that Guerrilla wasted 7 months on was worth it to miss out on millions of holiday sales. Can't wait for God of War Ragnarok's inevitable delay to 2023 because Santa Monica are wasting resources on a PC version of God of War that none of us asked for. One that will barely sell 2 million units in 10 years when the sequel will sell 4 million in one single day on consoles.
Do people actually believe this? That's not me sarcastically asking a question. I'm dead ass right now. Do people genuinely believe that Horizon got delayed because of PC ports? That Sony willingly missed the holiday release and threw away millions of dollars to port games to PC? Fuck no. That game didn't even have a gameplay trailer last year, and they tried to say it was coming out this year. And people are trying to say that the God of War PC port is why Ragnarok got delayed to 2022? Motherfucker. Last year, Ragnarok didn't even have a cinematic trailer, and they were saying it was coming out in 2021. Everyone with 2 brain cells to rub together knew it was getting delayed to 2022 at least. When a game gets delayed, it means that the game would have been unfinished if it had gotten released the day it was originally announced to. Not to mention, Sony has literally bought entire studios specifically so that other devs can work on their games and not have to worry about PC ports. And then he says nobody was asking for God of War. The hell? Of all the games nobody was asking for, you bring up God of War? I think fucking Joel's Bastion Skull could understand this better than these people. I'm fucking done with this. We've had enough salt for the day. We're going back to the video. Shut the fuck up.
Which is obviously a single player narrative driven game. Now what's interesting is how far and how fast people go.
Bro, that's literally 2 now. What the fuck is it with crapgamer and his looping animations? How hard is it to just make a tiny cut to cut out the looping part of your animation, dude?
To sort of discredit just because it's a single player game that it looks so much better than something like Halo Infinite. Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more.
Including stupidity.
You'll probably notice some of the changes around here, but that shouldn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me and my silly YouTube channel. Now, we saw Halo Infinite over a year ago, and it didn't look good. In fact, it looked pretty terrible. And
I mean, yeah, I'll be fair, the graphics looked like shit, but honestly the gameplay looked fairly good. Like, when the trailer came out, all people were complaining about were the graphics. Oh, the graphics look like shit, which, again, they did. But it might just be me, but I'd rather have a genuinely fun game than just another graphical showcase. Does that mean Infinite shouldn't have been delayed? God no. Once again, you see the difference between last year and now, it's insane. Yeah, it doesn't look absolutely phenomenal. I'd say it looks like maybe a 2018 game or so, but then again, from the beginning, Halo was never a graphical showcase. Like, for example, we can take Combat Evolved. You look at the graphics for that shit, it looks like a fucking N64 game. The textures looked so shit. That game came out in 2001 on the Xbox, which was supposedly the most powerful console at the time. And then you compare that to something like Resident Evil Remake, which came out about 5 months after Combat Evolved came out. And you can do this literally every time a new Halo game came out. Halo as a series has always looked just fine. Not great, not awful. I don't know why the hell people are expecting anything more when this has been shown to be the standard.
And there were memes made about it, and people were talking about how bad it looks. Now, when we look at what's going on with Halo Infinite now, over a year later, and clearly somewhat better, but it's a single player campaign, right? And it's a single player campaign that should take full advantage of a 12 T-flop Xbox Series X.
How the fuck can it take full advantage of the Series X when it's fucking cross-gen? Like, graphically, Horizon Forbidden West doesn't look like that much of a step up from Zero Dawn. Same with God of War, yet I don't see any videos on those games bitching about how they don't look like they're taking full advantage of the PS5. Crap, my man, you really need to
Keep that same energy. And yet, from what we can see so far, it doesn't really look like that's the case. From what we've been able to kind of decipher, some things look better clearly, but you would expect some of these minor things to look better.
Why the fuck would they focus on the tiny details first over the actual important shit that you're gonna be seeing pretty much at every second during the game? Oh no, a shade of grass is slightly off texture. Phil Spencer has ruined gaming.
But when you look at what's going on, like behind the scenes, look at Craig the Brute, for instance, they seem to cover up with armor or like facial hair, and it doesn't exactly look amazing. It doesn't look like that big showpiece that we should be having on a next generation console.
Probably because it's not a fucking next gen game.
Even though it's current gen and we're a year into it. Now, when we look at something like Horizon Forbidden West, it already looked gorgeous. I mean, a lot of people tried to compare it to the first game, which is fair enough, because obviously it's going to have that same aesthetic. But when you get down to it, it looks absolutely stunning. And with what we've seen and the new gameplay and things like that, they've really changed a ton of what's going on with this, right? So,
because from the beginning, Horizon had looked better than Halo 5, so obviously its sequel is going to be looking better than Halo Infinite, partially because Halo was never a graphically intensive series.
Basically, what we've seen is a situation where Sony has improved and Guerrilla Games has improved the gameplay, the traversability, the way that you completely move around, and it's more of a vertical type game and so much more options when it comes to the gameplay. And then
I guess you could say that. I'd personally say that the stuff they added was about the same amount of stuff they added from Last of Us to Last of Us 2, and even then at first glance, both games are going to be playing extremely similar.
When you look at Halo Infinite, there's not really that big change for a franchise that's, 20 years old, and I think that people are probably...
There's no change, right? They made it fucking open world. What bigger change do you want? Do you want it to change to some third-person movie game or something?
Probably starting to notice that. I feel like, at the end of the day, it's going to be one of those things where people are going to probably say, hey, Halo looks good, and I agree. I think it looks like a fun game. It looks like a Halo game. But it doesn't look like a true next-generation iteration.
And neither does Horizon or God of War, yet you're still here sucking their dicks.
Like what we saw with some big jumps in Halo before. I'll be honest with you, there seems like there was a much bigger jump with Halo 3 to Halo 4 on the Xbox 360.
Probably because there were several games in between those games that already had a bunch of changes to add to Halo 4.
Than there has been between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite in terms of the graphical leap and things like that. In fact, I would also go on record as saying, when it comes down to it, like the Brutes, they didn't really do much with Craig. They don't look that much more detailed, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure. I tried to look at the trailer breakdown, and it doesn't necessarily say that I could see if it was captured on Xbox, but it wouldn't surprise me if this game was captured on high-end PC.
And it also wouldn't surprise me if the trailer we got for Horizon was massively downgraded in the final game.
And what we're going to see on Xbox Series X even is going to be even much less than what's noted here. So I do think that, obviously the graphics aren't the most important thing, but you would still rather have something that's really going to push the graphical fidelity that they can kind of take advantage of.
Again, it's not a next-gen game, it's cross-gen. They've said this several times already. It's not going to look out of this world because it also has to run on damn near 8-year-old hardware.
And I also feel like that's something that that's going to be very, very much interested to a lot of people. Now, when we look at Horizon Forbidden West, I also think that it's definitely something that everybody should look into and that everybody should kind of look at it side by side. If you look at Horizon Zero Dawn, it's a very, very pretty game. It's a nice game to look at, and I also think that it's just something that realistically a lot of people will probably look at and go, oh, well, that's just another narrative game. Well, that's the whole point.
Look, here's the thing.
Fine. Listen,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
So if you just said Horizon looks better because it's a narrative focused game, in what world should you be comparing the graphics of Horizon, a game that's literally known for pushing graphics, to fucking Halo, which has never once been a series that pushed its graphics?
Right? They put their effort into the single player, and then you look on the Halo side, and that's supposed to have both, but the single player looks pretty dated by comparison. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit interesting to see how people kind of compare that and how that kind of comes in. It does look like the Halo campaign is coming in very hot, and could probably deal with some sort of situation where it needs a little bit of more time in the cooker.
Right, it needs to be delayed because it doesn't look as good as Horizon. Why are you comparing Halo to fucking Horizon? Stop it, you're fucking slow. Take the brain cell out of your mouth and put it back in your head. A fair comparison would be something like COD or Battlefield or Doom, not a fucking story-based game that specifically focuses on graphics.
Just in my opinion, I do think that that would be pretty awesome, and I do think that that would be something that you know, we could see happen well before too long. So I do think that when you compare these two games, while not apples to apples, and I did do a comparison previously months ago where it was just more, I compared Horizon Forbidden West, what we saw, to last year's Halo stuff, but I wanted to update that since they're new, and I wanted it to be very fair about it. And I think that this is very fair to kind of look at it and go, okay, well, we've seen Halo Infinite after 6 years plus of development time, $500 million budget, maybe more, developed by thousands of people, and now we see the dividends of that, right?
And it looks fine. It looks like your standard first-person shooter. And why are you bringing up Halo's budget when you don't even know Horizon's budget?
Right, and then we look at Horizon Forbidden West, which has been in development for 4 years, and it looks that much better and that much more fluid compared to what Halo is. And Halo is supposed to be a really fluid game considering, you know, what it is to offer and what it has to offer. So it's very strange to me that we see this, but it does start to make you question the Xbox Series X. Like, here we are, literally a year into this generation, and there's nothing on the Xbox that makes you go, whoa, this thing's way more powerful than the PS5.
Probably because they're both essentially the same console.
Right, a year into it already. You know, another year closer to the next generation, to be honest with you, and we still have nothing that makes anybody go, holy cow, look at how amazing that looks. You know, this is a 12 teraflop machine, folks. This is supposed to be something that realistically is cutting edge.
Is he really trying to say that the Series X is fucking cutting edge? A console comparable to a fucking last gen GPU? A 3090 is cutting edge. The next gen consoles don't come close to that.
Right? You have 343 Industries, literally thousands of people working there, and this is what we have to deal with. I just think that it's really kind of a shame that it's not the showpiece that people thought. You know, Gears of War, I guess, is a showpiece, but that's last gen.
And so is Halo, yet you're still talking about it.
That looked good even on the original Xbox One, so why is it that the Halo games, you know, and when you look at Halo 5 actually, or even Halo 2 Anniversary, look amazing, and then when you look at Halo Infinite, it just doesn't really look like it's up to par with what we've kind of expected this generation, at least for me personally. Look, if you think it looks good, then that's perfectly fine. You know, this is just always my opinion when I talk about this stuff, and people kind of get upset about it, but
Crap, no. Quit pulling this shit. People are not getting upset with you. How many times do I have to say this? We're making fun of you because you're brain dead, and it's enjoyable to laugh at the brain dead. You're literally trying to compare a third-person movie game that relies on graphics as a selling point to a first-person shooter that has never once been a graphical showcase.
to be honest with you, my opinion is that the game looks better than it did last year, but it doesn't look better to the point where, you know, I'm out there celebrating going, holy cow, look at what a good job they did. That's a $500 million game right there. So I think that that's probably the biggest difference right there. And, you know, everybody's kind of talking about this stuff. And, you know, I just really do think that, you know, they did kind of let everybody down with some of this Halo stuff.
No, it's just you. Anyways, I'm fucking done with that. I still have homework to do and an extra $8.13 to roll in. So yeah, keep that shit going. But in all seriousness, I know I've thanked you guys like 3 times already for 1K, but seriously, I feel like I have to do that in every video. You guys are the fucking best, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked what you saw. And seriously though, thank you guys, and I hope you all have a great day.
What are you going to do?